Hey Rudy, welcome back to some more early morning barking, talking about BPD and MPD by somebody that has both. It's the end of diagnosis week, and I want to talk to you about therapy because a lot of people come and ask me about this in my TikTok lives. If you haven't seen a TikTok live, go and follow me on TikTok, and then you'll get a notification that I've gone live and you can see a TikTok live. They're a bit random and sporadic, so that's really the best way to do it. Or follow me on Twitter. There's a link on the screen where you can get all the links to everything. Don't worry about it. Anyway, people come and they say that they're worried, that they're even scared about going to therapy, seeing a therapist, the process involved of getting, finding out what's wrong with them, the whole thing. And so I thought it might be useful to sort of talk you through some of this and show you that it's really not all that scary once you sort of dig into it. You start off by getting to see your doctor, and they refer you to specialists, and then you start going to these sort of long appointments where you start talking about stuff. Now, the way these usually go down, the way a therapist usually works is you'll go in, sit down. It will usually be a nice room, office with a comfy chair to sit in. You're going to be there for an hour, so why not? And they will usually just say hello and sit down and sit there. And they'll say nothing. They start out by saying absolutely nothing at all. You just start talking. And once you've been talking for a while, maybe a question will come out. Maybe they'll ask you to say more about something in particular or ask you a question about something you said. But they're going to do their absolute best to not lead you in any way, to not influence what comes out of you at all. Not even by saying, at the beginning of the conversation, tell me what's wrong or something like that. Even saying, tell me what's wrong, then there's something wrong, and then tell me the wrong things about you. And maybe that's not what's important to you at the moment. There's complicated things going on, and so they don't want to influence it at all. They just need you to start talking, and they will listen. Maybe some of them will make notes. Maybe some of them will listen and make notes afterwards. That will vary depending on the therapist you've got, I imagine. But the point is that you aren't at this point going to be asked to face anything as such. That's the therapy. Whereas you're just at the beginning, right? You're finding out if you need therapy or what kind of treatment would actually work best for you at that point. And that's why the medical professional working with you just needs to hear from you. They need you to just spill everything. They're not going to judge you. They haven't trained for years and gone on courses and listened to God knows what, just so that they can listen to you talk about your problems and come home at the end of the day and go, God, disgraceful people I've seen today. They're not judging you. They're people who've decided they want to help, and they're there to help. They aren't there to judge you. They aren't there to belittle you or make you feel bad or make you feel like you're wrong in some way or broken. They're there to help. And at the moment in this process, they're really just trying to find out what's wrong with you. They can't decide what to do before they know what's wrong, right? And they don't know what kind of a person you are. How will you react to various things, so on and so forth. But should you get to therapy, if that's the course of action for you, for me it was such a relieving experience. And I had group therapy, so there were other people there with similar problems, not the same problems. And all of the problems that we were facing were caused by very different things. We all had very different backgrounds, and some of us we each had a different story to tell about what brought us to where we are. But ultimately, the problems that we all face day to day in our lives were very similar. None of us had really any one problem that at least one other person there didn't have. Clearly, the design of the group was a very big part of it before anyone had turned up. And another reason why initial assessments are so important. I didn't believe at first that group therapy would help me. I had to be sort of talked into trying it because I'd sort of been led to believe that the treatment for what I had was DBT, and that if I was to get anything other than DBT, then I was being fobbed off. And that's not the case. DBT is one possible method of treatment for this. It's not entirely right for everybody. I did eventually have a go at it, and it wasn't right for me. I needed to do the talking stuff. And depending on where your problems come from, you might need to talk through some stuff as well. And so I was resistant at first. I didn't want to do group. I kind of wanted my own therapy as well. You know, that seems to make sense. I will go to therapy. It's not something I need to deal with other people about. What could that possibly teach me? Listening to other people. Well, that was the surprise, wasn't it? Therapy on your own is great. Therapy on your own is all well and good. But for me, the therapy in a group was life-changing. In many ways, it allowed me to talk about stuff. Not just in therapy, right? Talking about stuff, getting it out, that can be difficult at the best of times. But getting stuff out and explaining it to a room full of people is something very different. And learning to trust people and be comfortable doing that is a skill that needs to be learned and takes weeks, perhaps months, to become comfortable with. And that added element of it all made the difference for me, because you're not just hearing, it's not just about hearing your own problems. It's about more than that. You're not just here to talk about you, you're there to talk about them as well. And so at the same time as you're dealing with your own problems, you're helping other people deal with theirs. And maybe some of those problems are things that are relevant to you and you didn't think about that before. Because look, we've all got adjacent problems. We've all got similar things. So maybe there's actually a lot more overlap than we think at first. And so that group dynamic brings up things that would never perhaps have come up in solo therapy. And there's also support in bringing those things up. I'm not just saying the heartbreaking thing and then sitting there alone. There were other people there to support me in that, and I got to support them in that. It was a great experience. Not just the therapy of it, not just the learning to deal with my problems part of it, but the being part of that group and learning those skills that were necessary to be part of that group. And there were certainly times when I didn't have those skills, when I behaved really appallingly. But that for me was part of the process, and it doesn't happen now. So that was a good thing. And so you gain these abilities to share, to be honest, to be open, and to not feel shame about that. That isn't explained to you ahead of time. It's a very abstract concept, to be perfectly honest with you. And it would be very odd if the doctor was saying, well, we'll get you to this. You'll learn to be more open and caring and empathic, dare I say, says the narcissist. It was a wonderful experience, sometimes hard, but overall, here we are. That's a good thing, right? Still here after all these years. But it was stressful. And you go through a period of adjustment. Now, it wasn't for everybody. Just like I didn't get on with DBT, so people came and left and whatever. People stayed for various times, people left for various reasons. And it's important that if that happens to you, if you feel uncomfortable with things, that you don't just abandon everything. Look, you know, we have this ability for black and white thinking, right? And so you can get there and you can turn up to therapy in whatever form it's taking. and this isn't working. This is awful. No one can help me. It's all rubbish. I'm done with it. Of course we're going to do that. Of course we're going to do that. So you have to watch out for doing that. In my case, there were safeguards put in place, but those safeguards can only do so much. You know, there were rules of you have to give 3 months notice before you leave the group, because that's there to try and stop you sort of storming off. But at the same time, if I wanted to storm off, there's nothing they could do. You have to be part of it, you know? And so I urge you, whatever you try, whatever happens, whatever medical treatment is recommended, that you give it a go. And if it doesn't work for you, that you try others, rather than dismissing the whole idea that you could get better at all. Overall, therapy is a pleasant experience. Some of it's difficult. Some of it needs recovery time and processing time. You need time to work through things, to understand where they're coming from. And some of these things can't be rushed. But therapy overall worked for me. I like it. It was a good thing. And you know, hopefully, if you need it, you can get it. So I hope that helps. I hope that tells you something and puts a few fears to rest, just talking through it and what it involves. I'll be back next week with more videos and stuff like that. I'll probably be live on Twitch over the weekend as well, so check me out there. Check me out everywhere. Just follow me. I need your attention. I'll see you later. Bye-bye.